Charlene here from Anchor Life and Fitness, and today I'm going to go over we'll start with a bodyweight squat or a goblet squat when you add weight into it. I think a squat, my opinion of squat is we do it in FMS, we do it in screens through Titleist. It tells a lot about your body, and if there is something that is, sticking, a little bit of bad mobility, poor mobility, something might be too mobile. So it's really great to just squat because it gives us coaches and instructors a really good sense at where you're at and how your body mechanics are. The way I like to personally coach a squat, and it obviously there's 8,000 variations, there's 8,000 cues. There's some things that work for some clients and some things that do not, and it really does come down to the individual. So I always go through, the one that I use the most, that makes most sense, and then I will always break it up for the individual. So you may not understand this variation, that's okay. We can always help in a different way, and maybe you just need to feel it, and that's okay. I set my feet basically the same for my deadlift and my squat. For me, it's my toes are pointed slightly out. I imagine that I'm corkscrewing my feet into the ground. So I'm like spreading the floor and I'm grabbing, my toes down, basically the four corners. You might hear that in yoga. You want to grab your feet to the ground and your abs are braced. You want to pull yourself to the floor. I don't want to just drop it like it's hot. I want to pull myself to the floor and then fire up out of the hole. You want to imagine when you're coming up that you're pushing the ground away. You're not just standing up. Imagine like getting that floor that you're on to move away from you. So as you're coming down, pretend this was a great cue that worked for me. It works for some, doesn't work for others. Where I'm pulling your hips with a string. So I'm pulling those hips out wide, and I'm also pulling a string on those knees, and I'm sitting deep into my squat. Not everybody will be here, but that's okay. I push up through the ground. So I'm inhaling down and push up nice and strong. I also want to look at where my knees are in relationship to my toes. It's okay now with orthopedic issues. We don't want to go too crazy over the toes, but when you're walking down the steps, your knees go over your toes, okay? We want to just make sure, my biggest thing, you don't want the knees to collapse in, okay? We don't want to put too much pressure on that joint. When you are squatting, I like to look on the side as well, and make sure, is that shin? Now, not everybody's going to be able to stay vertical or near vertical. It's a very knee-dominant movement. So we see what works best for you. It might be squatting to a box. That's okay. It might be using, some sort of assistance. It might be using a pole. You might just be learning, the basic patterns. You might have to elevate your feet if there's some ankle mobility. It's okay. Everybody's going to start at a different spot. But in my opinion, I got to get everybody, majority of the people I can usually get to squat, depending. But if you're going out there and golfing, and I love to see a deadlift, I love to see a squat, and then the next video I'll be going over a get up. But you want to load your squats, keep it safe, and have good mobility. You can always regress. I don't like to call it really a regression, but that's kind of, in a way, what it is. We like to regress to progress. There are definitely, some people that we just need to load them differently depending on previous health history, but a squat is a squat, and we like to make sure that we're keeping you strong and safe in that position. So with weight, a goblet squat, we're just pulling ourselves down, fire, now the hole, fire, now the hole. Brace those abs, pull yourself, create your tension, abs are on, fire up out of the hole, and squat.